Good evening, darlings and deviants. My name is Lucy, and I'm just a little loony. With March of the Machine underway, there's tons of exciting new cards for Commander. And as has become tradition in recent years, a set of Commander exclusive cards has been released that are only available in set and collector's boosters. The whole set has a lot of exciting cards, but one cycle in particular caught my eye. The new Talent Cycle. And as a talented woman myself, I figured it was only proper that I give these a closer look. So without further ado, let's start the show! So first things first, what are these talents? I'll go over each in a bit more detail later, but to put it simply, each one is an aura enchantment that targets a planeswalker. Instead of a power and toughness boost like creature enchantments would normally give, these auras give the planeswalkers new loyalty abilities and a new triggered ability. These triggered abilities vary wildly, so I'll need to go over each one individually. The next question you might ask, naturally, would be, aren't these just kind of bad? You need to play a planeswalker, hope it doesn't die, and then enchant it. Isn't that just going to make all of the cards really bad no matter what's on the card? And well, you wouldn't be wrong. If we're not playing a deck with a whole lot of planeswalkers, these enchantments aren't super great. And even if we were, planeswalkers in Commander have wildly varying power levels, with most of them being on the weaker end of things. Turns out when you're able to have 3 extra opponents able to attack your planeswalkers, most of them get a lot worse. However, a good ring mistress always has a trick up her sleeve. There's a whole load of planeswalkers that can be your commander. With access to a planeswalker from the very start of the game, that means that these talents can be useful all the time. So I'll suggest one of those for each of these talents, along with a normal planeswalker, because, Oathbreaker's a format, and that's another place these cards can shine. So let's get right on into the first one. Starting off, we have Elspeth's Talent. It's 2 white for an enchant planeswalker that reads, Enchanted Planeswalker has +1, create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. In addition, it also gets the ability to give each creature you control +2/+2 in vigilance until end of turn whenever you use a loyalty ability of the Enchanted Planeswalker. We're starting off strong, giving any Planeswalker the +1 of Elspeth Sun's Champion. 3 bodies is really powerful and can protect the Planeswalker you put the talent on efficiently. And that buff to your whole board is super powerful, helping your current team attack in and be able to block in the following turns. Looking at the white commanders we have available, I personally think that Nahiri the Lithomancer would do really well with Elspeth's Talent. Her ability to cheat out equipment, both in equip costs and normal costs, pairs really well with the vigilance Elspeth's Talent provides. Mono White also has tons of tools in order to find enchantments, so you won't have any trouble finding the talent. As for an Oathbreaker planeswalker, I'd have to go with Comet Stellar Pup. For 1, because he's the absolute goodest boy of all time. For 2, well, let me read what he does first. For 2 a red and a white, you get a planeswalker that starts with 5 loyalty and only has 1 ability. For 0 loyalty, you roll a 6-sided die. Then things get wacky. Depending on the dice roll, you add or remove different numbers of loyalty counters. He has 3 other abilities, but the one we care about is the one at the bottom, the one that you get when you roll a 6. You add an additional loyalty counter, and can activate Comet's loyalty ability 2 more times. That 6 kinda shows why I think Comet benefits from Elspeth's Talent the most. Being able to give your team, on a roll of a 6, +6/+6 in Vigilance is amazing. Throw in some cards like Barbarian Class and Will, Blade of Frontiers, and you've got the potential to pop off with an army of buff squirrels and soldiers. Next up is Teferi's Talent. It's 3 blue for an enchant planeswalker that reads, Enchanted Planeswalker has -12. You get an emblem with, you may activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers you control on any player's turn anytime you would cast an instant. In addition, you get the bonus of adding a loyalty counter onto Enchanted Planeswalker whenever you draw a card. Needless to say, that new loyalty ability is super sweet, since it lets you get 3 extra activations of all of your loyalty abilities. It's pretty expensive, but we're in blue, the main color of proliferate and card draw. And the latter is so important because when each of those cards gets put into our hand, we get an extra counter on our planeswalker. So which planeswalker is the best for this? Personally, I think Estrid the Masked is the way to go. While she doesn't have card draw attached to her abilities, she can protect the enchantment with the totem armor tokens she can make, and there's plenty of awesome card draw enchantments that can help get to that newfound -12. Once you get there, you'll be putting out more masks than a party city on October the 30th. The Oathbreaker choice is a bit more difficult as, well, blue planeswalkers are very good, and that means people want to kill them very quickly. So let's just lean into it. Jace the Mind Sculptor does a lot of things, but all we really care about is the Zero ability, which allows us to draw 3 cards, then put 2 from our hand on top of our library, getting 3 extra loyalty counters when Jace is enchanted. The next talent is very interesting to me. It's Liliana's talent. It's 2 black to give a planeswalker -8, put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control, and make it so whenever a creature deals combat damage to the planeswalker, said creature gets destroyed. This one is much cheaper than the other 2, but the passive ability isn't as powerful in my opinion. -8 is a big ask, especially since most of the commander planeswalkers tick up very slowly. So I did some thinking and it hit me. The best commander for this talent is Lord Windgrace. Once again, his other abilities are great, but what we're mainly looking at is the +2. Since all it takes is 1 proliferate effect or a chain veil activation, or just using the +2 twice in a couple turn cycles, gives you enough loyalty to use the talent's ability, and the discards from the ability can set up your own graveyard for big plays. However, I think in Oathbreaker there's a more interesting planeswalker for this talent. Lolth the Spider Queen, and it's mainly for her passive ability that puts loyalty counters on her for each creature destroyed. If you play her in the talent, along with a handful of tokens and a sack outlet, you could have a repeatable Rise from the Dark Realms, sacking the things that get reanimated, then getting them right back turn after turn after turn. Moving on to red, we have Rowan's talent. It's 2 red for another enchant planeswalker that gives the following loyalty ability. +1, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. The talent gives the most powerful passive in my opinion. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of the enchanted planeswalker, you copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. My mind races with how many awesome red planeswalkers there are and how many would love to have this effect. For the ones that can be your commander, I think Dihada, Binder of Wills fits the job perfectly. Whether you're buffing 2 of your legends with her plus ability, or using her minus ability to draw up to 8 cards and or make up to 8 treasures, everything about her abilities doubling is phenomenal. Minus the ultimate, but like, if you're ultimating, you're probably winning that game anyway. Don't need to steal all their permanents twice after all. As for the Oathbreaker planeswalker, there's so many to choose from that honestly there are very few wrong answers. If it's a planeswalker with a red ins cost, you would be okay in choosing any of them. So I'll just go with the biggest and splashiest one because why not live the dream? Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh. Why yes, I would like to have an opponent exile 2 spells from their deck for me to play. Or, better yet, for all of my opponents to exile 4 cards from their hand, or to deal 7 damage to anything relevant on anyone's board, or to their face twice. I love this talent so much, and it'll only get better as more planeswalkers come out. I love it. Finally, we have the green talent in the form of Vivian's talent. For 1 green, you get another enchant planeswalker that gives the following loyalty ability. +1. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And the passive is honestly extremely powerful as well. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a loyalty counter on Enchanted Planeswalker. That's a whole bunch of counters for not a lot of cost. Now, it does specify non-token, which gets a little bit awkward, but we're in green and the loyalty ability gives us access to green creatures, so I think the ideal commander is still Freyalise Llanowar's Fury. She ramps us, the talent helps us find more creatures which will, in turn, get us to our ultimate quicker, allowing for more card draw to keep the whole engine running smoothly as you eventually run your opponents over with more and more giant monsters and big threats. In Oathbreaker, I'd just go with Garrett, Caller of Beasts. He's a bit expensive at 6 mana, but the turn he comes in, you can tick him down in order to put a big creature into play to protect him, then follow that up with a talent in order to find more big buff creatures to slam down until you win. And with that, that's all the talents. Honestly, I love this cycle so much. It's such an interesting design space, and I'd love to see them expand upon this a bit more. Maybe next time they make new Commander Planeswalkers, we could see new talents of other Planeswalkers maybe? What do you think about the talents? Let me know in the comments below. While the algorithm's hunger may be unending, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, au revoir!